top of the world. It is 6 constructors' titles running for Ferrari, prompting a party at their Maranello headquarters. Today, Michael Schumacher tries to ice the cake with another world crown. But Jarno Trulli is the only man who's beaten the phenomenal champion this year, and the Italian's Renault is on pole this afternoon. Now, Spa has its own very strange weather patterns. At the moment, though, it's dry and sunny for the Belgian Grand Prix. Hello there, good afternoon. Ferrari are the most successful team in the history of Formula One, and with a lovely sense of timing at their 700th Grand Prix, their man tries to win here in Belgium for the 7th time and claim that unprecedented 7th world title. Well, Mark, he's only got to score a couple more points than his teammate Rubens Barrichello, but knowing Michael Schumacher as you do, he just wants to win, doesn't he?
Oh, of course he does, Jim. He's just going to go flat out to get the win. He didn't give up in qualifying yesterday, and he will not give up in the race today. If he wins this, he's going to win the championship in style.
And he's absolutely mighty round this track, his favourite one of all.
I don't think there's anybody any mightier than Schumacher around here, and we saw that during qualifying. The guy's unbelievable.
We've had the normal weather cocktail here this morning. Bit of rain, bit of wind. It's sunny at the moment. If it rains, will that affect things a lot?
It will. I mean, as soon as it does rain, a lot of people are going to have to make some decisions quickly. And I think also there's going to be a bigger element of risk. Anything could happen.
OK, Michael Schumacher finding himself in a sandwich between Trulli and Alonso after a brilliant and brave gamble by Renault in qualifying. Ted Kravitz reporting.
It's the ultimate test of an F1 driver, the pressure of one-lap qualifying in the pouring rain on one of the most demanding tracks in the world. The first driver on an intermediate tyre, never before raced. How did he do it?
I was sitting in the car watching, trying to figure out what was going on, and then I called Alan on the radio and say, let's try it.
The last time I think we put intermediates on was at a Silverstone test a few months ago. So yeah, it was a gamble, but to be honest, you're either going to qualify around, we've got to beat the bars. That's our prime target, you know, to stay in second in the championship. And if we'd have gone out on the extreme wets, would have been, I don't know, 8th or 10th or whatever, you know, we would have been around them. We know they're very quick in the wet, so we had to try something.
We try asking him by radio what's going on, and I think so nobody understands what we're talking about. At this moment, we tell Fernando as well to go with the intermediate because we believe it was the right choice.
I was brave, I was lucky.
Look at that, a 156.2. When the track changes, the groove comes, and you can change those tyres. It's like having 2 extra gears around the racetrack.
With more rain came the Ferraris. Barrichello outbraked himself into the new bus stop. And then Michael.
Did you think he'd be able to do it?
Yes. At one point, yes, because Michael is the devil. You expect everything from him.
I was very worried because I knew that it was extremely quick on wet condition, but I was really impressed by the way he drove and by the way the car and tires worked for him, because the condition he had on the track was much worse compared to my condition.
Second pole of the season then after Monaco, but Trulli won't be doing this for Renault next year. They've already sacked one of F1's best qualifiers.
I think you might have got rid of the wrong guy.
Maybe yes, maybe not.
He's gone anyway, Jarno Trulli from Renault. Brave but lucky, said Jarno Trulli. Other side of the coin, Juan Pablo Montoya on intermediates. The rain came and no grip at all in that Williams.
Nothing he could do with that, Jim. I mean, unfortunately, yeah, as he went down the pit lane, the rain came down. What could he do but drive round the circuit and try and make the most of it? Montoya's got that aggressive style. When you haven't got the grip coming from the tyres, you're really making hard work for yourself. But that's the luck of the draw. Maybe if there's rain again during the race, this guy might start to come through.
Absolutely. 11th is worst in 56 races, that for Montoya. Let's look at the British drivers. Coulthard, first of all, and Jenson Button. And David Coulthard just about managing a good lap.
Yeah, DC, traditional of him around here. He likes the place, and he's very, very smooth. Excelled as well in the wet conditions. McLaren is working better around this circuit in particular, and I think if it does stay dry, this could have a good effect for David. I think he's got a good chance.
No grip for Jenson Button on the wet, not the extreme wet Michelins.
No, you know, and I'm slightly mystified by BAR because they got the 2 guys there back to back. They could have split them up on the decision with the tyres. They didn't do that, and unfortunately Jenson's way back.
Let's check on the man who they hope will be Jenson Button's teammate at Williams next season. That is Mark Webber. An excellent performance from the Australian in the Jaguar.
You know, this is the value what Williams have seen in Mark Webber, because this guy stood up to the plate, and the effort he put in with the Jag, he's 7th on the grid. Very smooth, very precise, didn't put a foot wrong around the whole lap. And this is what you're going to see a lot more of when this guy gets in a real good race car, such as the Williams next year. Great, fantastic job.
Some big names, then some powerful cars are down the pecking order, aren't they, Mark? Just chat us through that grid, will you?
Second pole position for Jarno Trulli with intermediate tyres in the tricky conditions. Michael Schumacher on the front row looking for his 7th World Championship. Fast starting Alonso in 3rd. Good performance for McLaren with DC. Fisichella 5th on the grid, best for him this season. Barrichello 6th in the Ferrari. Great performance in the Jaguar by Mark Webber. Massa follows up in the Sauber. Olivier Panis inside the top 10 for Toyota, followed by Raikkonen. Montoya got caught out in the conditions on the wrong tyres. So did Button. Christian Klein in the Jaguar. Antonio Pizzoni, a 3rd race for Williams. Sato disappointed a long way back. Heifeld a 2nd quicker than his teammate. The Minardi's on the penultimate row for a change. Pantano follows up. And last, Ricardo Zonta recovering from a pre-qualifying crash.
Qualifying a lottery, then Ricardo Zonta pulling out number 20. No matter how you crunch those numbers, though, that flying horse is running wild. This remains the Ferrari era. 202 points means they've comfortably outscored their main rivals, Renault and BAR. Renault in shape to improve their prospects of finishing 2nd. Williams and McLaren, they look set for 4th and 5th. Both Sauber drivers starting in the top 8, Toyota, Jaguar and Jordan competing for 7th. The Minardis starting ahead of a Jordan and Toyota on today's grid. Just confirming, Michael Schumacher wins the individual title this afternoon if he scores 2 more points than Barrichello. Win number 13 this season does the trick. Button a clear 3rd, Trulli and Alonso could well make up ground today. Montoya seems set for 6th as he heads for McLaren next season to replace Coulthard, and Coulthard really nip and tuck with teammate Raikkonen. Spa is a very special venue for Michael Schumacher.
It's fitting that one of the greatest tracks in Grand Prix racing should have played such a significant role in the career of one of the sport's most eminent drivers. From the moment 22-year-old Michael Schumacher arrived at Spa in '91, Formula One sat up and took notice. Michael qualified 7th, and although he retired, he'd already demonstrated the skill that had captivated Eddie Jordan from the outset.
Well, I think we were all flabbergasted with how quick he was in the test. And I remember Trevor Foster saying to me, look, it's either a phenomenally quick day on the track or they've changed the cones because it was on the testing part of Silverstone and it must be shorter because he was that quick. But, you know, he very nearly didn't get the drive because at the very last moment, the promise of the money that he was talking about never actually came through. Didn't come through till the Friday, and at that stage we'd already done the first day's testing.
Eddie found Schumacher, but he couldn't keep him. One race later, Michael was driving for Benetton. 1 year later, he claimed his maiden win at Spa. In 1994, the German memorably clinched his first World Championship in Adelaide. The seeds of raw talent were beginning to mature and bear fruit.
Never before or since actually worked with a driver who had that level of attention to detail, continually thinking about the job. To be a great driver, you've got to be intelligent. You know, you've got to think your way through races, you've got to think your way through tactics, and tactics aren't just something that happens for an hour and a half on Sunday. Tactics really permeate throughout the whole year, really. You know, your whole approach to how you're going racing. That's what makes a great driver. And I think by the time he left, he'd managed to differentiate between work and play. Still extremely serious when he was working, but a good sense of humour at other times.
In 1996, Schumacher joined forces with the Scuderia, and so began the era of Ferrari domination that saw the records tumbling. As the celebrations continued race after race, year after year, history was being made. Even the legendary Juan Manuel Fangio has met his match.
Chris, Michael has broken every record in the book. They don't come any better, but is he still eager to listen and learn?
Oh, very much. I think that's one of his strengths. You know, I don't think he's ever sort of sitting back and looking at the record books. He's always looking forward and thinking, how can we be on pole this weekend? How can we win this weekend?
It's already a historic weekend for Ferrari. It's your 7th, 100th Grand Prix. What chance the 7th World Championship for Michael here today?
I think there's quite a good chance. Barring problems, if we have a good clean race, we should be okay. But you never know, especially at Spa.
You've got a point to make about throughout his career, the sort of cars he's driven.
Well, he's never driven a bad car, really, Jim. I mean, Jordan was still a great car, even when the Ferrari was at the beginning of his career there. Still good. He's never had the pressure of a Zolt Baumgartner in the Minardi, and I'd love to have seen it.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much indeed. Throughout this weekend, we are meeting the BMW Williams team. We have a rare interview with Peter Phillips, the Royal, who grafts in their commercial department. Juan Pablo Montoya, he's been running fast and loose with his own digital camera. Williams, a team with a great past, a slightly disappointing present, but looking forward to a triumphant future.
From their beginning in 1977, together with 27 drivers and 7 different engine suppliers, Williams Grand Prix Engineering are habitual winners.
I think 79 and 80, when it began to dawn upon us that maybe we've made ourselves into a good team, or had made ourselves into a good team at that time, that was a pleasurable experience.
The first memory I have of them really is obviously being Australian. Alan Jones winning the championship in 1980. Which was obviously big news in Australia at the time.
The period that I liked was when it was PK Mansell, and then obviously Alain Prost came back after his sabbatical in '93. I think those sort of eras when Williams were obviously a real force and rattling off a lot of victories in one season with Mansell and all those sort of things. That was good to watch, and that's what Grand Prix racing is all about.
There's little room for fondness in the memories of that, because he was with us for such a short period of time, and of course it ended in the worst possible way.
We saw strong similarities between the Williams and the BMW approach, both engineering-driven, success-driven, and it really looked like a very good fit.
When BMW joined in Melbourne, first race, being on the podium, first race win in Imola. So quite a few moments really. Obviously always very disappointed at the end of a season, because we expect every year we thought, okay, now we're going to do the step, and we didn't do it. But maybe it happens when Juan and I am gone. I think the team fell asleep a little bit from the beginning of the season into Magny Cours really. We had quite a few races with no development, and that was really, really tough.
We definitely weren't asleep. We were working hard on making his car go faster. So he might have been asleep, but we certainly weren't. To have 2 drivers that are interested and want to push the team and motivate the team to do well is a massive change. We've been missing that for a while now, and Mark Webber and Jenson Button are 2 guys that we see very much as the prime drivers for the next sort of era of Formula One.
So much friction in that team, Mark. No surprise they've underperformed this season.
Well, Sam Michaels said they weren't asleep. Montoya said there was no development, but I think what there wasn't was no communication. No communication between the drivers and nothing to the team. What you've seen is that team going backwards instead of forwards.
We're still not quite sure when that decision will come regarding Jenson Button. Could be as long as Christmas until we find out if he can join there, but they can't wait to get him and Webber together next season.
Yeah, I think that new generation, Webber, Button, would be a very strong relationship between the 2 guys. They want to make their future with Williams, and I think the team desperately needs that, and Williams will come back.
We do know that Juan Pablo Montoya is winding down his career at Williams. We're going to test his video skills now. Here he is with his wife Connie, preparing to leave their home in Monaco and join us here in Belgium.
"7:45 in the morning, and we're just starting to get ready. Actually, you can see everything is a mess, cell phones, everything everywhere, computers, and we should be leaving in a little bit." Everybody looks very excited to go to the races. This guy is Gonzo. It's a bit of a pain in the ass sometimes, but it's just getting really old. Jaime used to race go-karts with me. This is Felipe, who works with me in Colombia, good friend as well. And this is my younger brother. Yo! And here comes my lady. She's a little bit of a brain. She can't smile. I don't know why.
So Juan Pablo, what are you gonna play?
Playing Scrabble in Spanish, as you can see. Probably don't understand anything. She talks a lot, as you can see.
Belgian weather. She loves flying, especially when it's bumpy.
He's making fun of me. Bye, thank you. Just as a quick note, this is Frank Williams' car. That's gonna pick him up.
Adieu, mate.
Where are we going?
Pista, es para Francorchamps.
We have arrived to the hotel. What are you thinking, Mr. Montoya? And this is our room. Mr. Montoya, tell us how was your day?
Fantastic. It was so exciting.
Did you work a lot?
No.
Interviews?
No.
What are you? Are you scared of heights? Good morning, Juan Pablo. How did you sleep?
Good.
Good? We're watching the Olympics, and it's 8:30 a.m. and we're ready to go to the track.
Now I'm so stressed before the race that I need to relax. Right. He's gonna miss it. Oh, look at that! You see why I'm driving cars.
Today is Sunday. We're leaving.
Driving to Francorchamps.
Do you prefer wet or dry races?
Well, if I'm starting 11, I wouldn't mind wet, but I guess it's gonna be dry.
Connie, I have to say you did a fantastic job with your camera work this weekend. Now, how did you get on? Because as somebody who follows your husband around with the camera, I know it can be a bit tricky to deal with sometimes.
No, it was really fun. He made it easy. He helped a lot, so it was fun. We had fun.
It seems like you always have a lot of fun together, actually.
Yeah, we try to laugh a lot. It's good. We have lots of fun.
But I know you have said to me in the past it is a bit like living with a child.
Yeah, he's a 9-year-old boy. You can see him sometimes. Sometimes there are things like, turn on the camera. You have to take this. You have to see this. It's nice.
Well, he's going to be out there being a man today. How do you think he's going to get on?
Well, I hope we'll do good. 11th, we were quite unlucky yesterday, but let's see what happens. It's quite cloudy now, so let's see what happens.
Enjoy the race.
Thank you. Bye.
Watch your wipers when Juan Pablo's around. That's the moral of that piece. He is out on the track. The race due off in 25 minutes' time, starting 11th, and it's a jumbled-up grid. Here's Alan McNish.
After yesterday's qualifying, several drivers were out of position from their normal qualifying slot. Partly due to wrong tyre choice, partly due to mistakes on the track, and some of them it is just bad luck. I'm here with Frank Derney, who's been a stalwart to success of the Williams team over many, many years, and also someone I worked with at Benetton. Hopefully he'll tell us if that was the case with Juan Pablo. Was that the case with Juan Pablo? Just bad luck?
Yeah, it was really. It was pretty clear that the intermediates were going to be faster, and so we put the intermediates on his car, and he went out the pits. It was just starting to rain as he went out the pits, and by the time he did his quick lap, it was raining fairly heavily, particularly out the back of the circuit. So we lost out there. That's just the luck of the draw in a wet practice session.
And what about for the race from the start? Do you think you can help him recover from 11th?
Well, he's the best guy, isn't he? He sees a car in front and he has to get past it, so he'll be working hard at trying to overtake. We'll do what we can in the pit stop strategy, but really it's going to be down to Juan Pablo, and it's going to be an exciting race because I don't think we know what people's strategies are going to be.
With the dry setup on the car, do you think you've got the straight line speed to pass people?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we didn't put a wet setup on the car for qualifying, so we knew it was going to be dry today, or we expected it to be, so we qualified in the wet with a dry setup.
Well, thank you very much, Frank. There's one thing that's clear. If there is someone to do an overtaking manoeuvre, Juan Pablo's the man.
Yeah, we will watch for Juan Pablo Montoya. It's the sort of grid, though, that makes for great racing. Spa holds very special memories for Michael Schumacher. He's had lots of victories here, a fair bit of heartache as well. Last year's race went missing because of a row over tobacco advertising. Like Michael, we are delighted to be back. Spa-Francorchamps just doesn't do dull.
Yes, he's done it. A brilliant move. Hakkinen brilliantly takes the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix.
Oh, God! Michael Schumacher hits David Coulthard. David Coulthard in the wall will stop the race. This is the worst start for a Grand Prix that I have ever seen in the whole of my life.
It's 20 degrees. It's still warm and dry at Spa in eastern Belgium as we count down to the Grand Prix race 14 in the championship. Now, BMW Williams are our featured team, and now we're going to talk to Peter Phillips, the 26-year-old Queen's grandson, 10th in line. At Williams, Peter Phillips is a key member of the commercial department.
I'm an account manager for Williams F1, which essentially means I look after a number of the sponsors.
Tell me how you came to enter motor racing.
It was really Jackie Stewart's fault. I was on my gap year and I had 4 months to spare before I went to Australia. And Jackie said, work with me and work on the new team. And it was a fantastically exciting time to go and join the team. So I really got a pretty good scope and pretty good idea of what was happening throughout the company.
In your side of the family, if I could put it that way, that work is always pretty high on the agenda.
Absolutely. I mean, it's my parents always taught, both my sister and I, that we certainly didn't have the financial cushion to sit around our whole lives and do nothing. We had to go out there and earn our living. And I'm very fortunate that a lot of people don't consider what I'm doing at the moment as a proper job, because everyone would hope to come and work for a Formula 1 team, but parents very much drummed into my sister and I that we had to work for them.
So you're ready to go though, yeah?
I'm ready. He can fire away.
Okay. What's going on in the garage there?
Quite a lot. They're just taking the floor off Juan's car. Apart from me being in the way, yeah, there's quite a lot happening, really.
Peter, good morning to you. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everyone. I think I'll be very in huge favour with all the rest of
Have your royal connections been pointed out to you on frequent occasions?
Oh, yes, and no, certainly this weekend with you guys following me around, I've had a fair amount of Mickey take.
It must be very tough for you as a man in the middle between the sponsors and the drivers when the drivers don't want to do what you expect them to do for the sponsors.
Absolutely, yeah. There's, it can get fairly difficult, and it certainly tests your diplomatic skills to try and explain to these, try to explain to the drivers that actually the sponsors are paying their wages and they really do need to knuckle down and do what the sponsors want.
You're very much a team man, aren't you, Peter? And you got really excited about Johnny Herbert's win. What was it, in '99 in Germany?
Yeah, the European Grand Prix. It was Stuart Grand Prix's first and only victory, and I have to say it was my last race for Stuart Grand Prix. I'm good friends with Johnny now, and I was good friends with him before, so it was fantastic that he could take the maiden win.
Have you got your eyes on any other areas of Formula One?
Formula One is the pinnacle of sport globally in terms of what we do and looking after the sponsors and looking after the guests and everything. So it's a pretty good learning platform, and hopefully I can take that on to other sports in the future.
A learning platform for a real job?
Something like that, yeah.
Cheers, Peter. Thanks.
Cheers.
Good. First interview he's ever done that. Remember, you saw it here on ITV F1. Peter Phillips, a very popular fella in the Williams team. Well, now it is competition time. First of all, let me give you the result of the competition. We set you in Hungary. We asked when Kimi Räikkönen won his first Grand Prix, the Finn's only victory so far, at Malaysia last year. Here's a list of our 10 winners, and each of you receives a Siemens package consisting of a mobile phone, a digital camera, and an FM radio. Here in Belgium, we have teamed up with Hewlett-Packard to offer you a chance to win a fabulous day out for two at next season's British Grand Prix at Silverstone. We're offering a paddock passes Saturday night in a hotel. We'll arrange the travel. You'll meet the drivers and collect 2 digital cameras. Antonio Pizzonia is your quizmaster.
How many victories have Williams F1 had at the British Grand Prix?
Thanks, Antonio. How many times have Williams won the British Grand Prix then? Is it A3, B10 or C18? A3, B10, C18. Your number to call 0901 293 2020. 0901 293 2020. You can text F1A or F1B or F1C to 85123. The competition closes at midnight. That is on Wednesday, September the 1st. Let's have a word with Giancarlo Fisichella. Best qualifying position of the season, 5th on the grid. Here he is with Ted Kravitz.
Well, Giancarlo, you're many people's surprise package for this race. Dark horse, how do you think it's going to work?
Hopefully well. But obviously yesterday was wet. And, we have good tires for the wet condition. I feel confident and comfortable when it's wet. But even on Friday with the dry condition, in the long run, there was a very good pace and very good behavior of the car. So I'm still confident even today in a dry condition to score some points, and obviously the target is to get on the podium.
Thanks
Mark
very much.
Lundell, he's going back to Renault next year, isn't he? But it looks good for Sauber on those Bridgestones as well here.
It does look good for Sauber. I mean, the Bridgestones are the tyres to have at the moment. We know that because they work so well on Ferrari. And there is a lot of work between Ferrari and Sauber to make sure they try and improve their car.
Yeah, you've driven this circuit many times. We just saw it there. What makes Spa so special? Why do all the drivers like Jarno Trulli love this place?
You know what? Because it's a real driver's circuit, Jim. It really is a true track where you can commit and you get a payback when you go through some of these corners. Eau Rouge, Pouhon, the corners which you're pulling about 4G laterally and you're at 180 miles an hour. There's nothing else like it.
And when we look at the start, it's a very tight start down to a tight first corner. We've seen concertinas there in the wet, I guess. Would you expect something like that?
I don't think today, because it looks like it's going to stay dry anyway for the start of the Grand Prix, but it is always going to be difficult to estimate. But what we need to watch out is for those Renaults, and also Alonso, 3rd on the grid. Those guys start like rockets. We know that could be something special for turn 1.
And in terms of David Coulthard, we haven't spoken too much about him. On the 2nd row of the grid in the McLaren, again needing to advertise his talents.
Yeah, he needs to advertise, but everybody knows what his talents are at the end of the day. He does have 13 Grand Prix wins under it, but I think if he can get in the top 3 today, finish on a podium, that would be a very good result for him.
And looking a bit back down, Jenson Button starting 12th. He has done well from down the grid in Germany. Very quickly, what do you think from Jenson?
Yeah, Jenson could put in a steaming race today.
Right, let us steam down to our man on the grid. He is always an absolute knockout. It's Martin Brundle.
Hello, Jim. Good afternoon, everybody. There's so much noise going on down here. I could barely hear myself, let alone a cue. Today is all about the number 7, certainly at the start. On pole then, Jarno Trulli in car number 7. Flavio Briatore, do you have too much wing on your car? Did you set it up for the wet, or are you comfortable you got a racing chance?
We have very powerful engine, and we are set with the drive. We have no problem.
Okay, and what about you're going to have to run brand new Michelins all afternoon? Is that going to compromise you? No chance to scrub them in through free practice?
No, it's the first time we have this tire with good weather. We don't know. Honestly, we have no idea, but I hope the Michelin done a very good job here, and I hope we are competitive.
So you should lead Michael 1-2 into the first corner with your start system, yeah? But then he's going to be all over you like a bad suit, isn't he?
At the moment he's behind, you never know. Let's try put him behind first, after we see.
Hope your guys don't run into each other. Bye-bye. Right, talking about number 7, Michael Schumacher then could win his 7th Belgian Grand Prix today, his 7th Formula One World Championship, and this is the 700th race for the Ferrari team. I tried to tee up an interview with Michael, but didn't get anywhere, unfortunately. I will have a look at him and see if there's half a chance of a word. I don't think there is. Michael, any chance of a quick word? No, I think that's pretty clear, isn't it? Let's see if there's anybody in the Ferrari. Now, let's not bother. Let's go and see if somebody else is interested to talk. I know Alonso went briefly off the grid, off the grid, but he's here in 3rd place. He's got an important job of getting past Michael Schumacher before turn 1. Fernando, sorry to interrupt. Quick word for British TV. You got an important job to beat Michael down to the first corner, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's the main job for the first corner, but I'm more concentrated maybe for the race result. We know that Michael will be a bit difficult to beat today, so we have to concentrate maybe a little more on the podium, I think.
All right, so you got a bit of team driving to do, yeah? And have you got a plan worked out with Jarno?
No, nothing really planned. I think, on Friday my car was quite competitive in the dry conditions, so I hope to have the chance to beat him. If not, we have to score points for our team anyway.
All right, well, give it your best shot. Thank you. Let's have a quick word. I'm losing my headphones here. I think Coulthard is just getting his crash helmet on. We might get a quick shout through there. His best grid position of the year. DC, can you shout through that crash helmet? How's the track out there? You've done a slow lap to the grid, but any feel for it?
Well, we're in this fuel-saving mode, so we're not really able to drive the car quickly. So the reality is, the first lap we find out where the car is in the first lap of the race.
Okay, your best grid slot of the year. Are you confident? You haven't got any tyres scrubbed. You don't really know the car.
My best grid slot, apart from Magny-Cours, where I was 3rd. But I'm looking forward to the race. Obviously, there's some quick guys behind. Rubens we need to watch, and it all depends on what compromise people made on their qualifying setup for the wet versus the dry today.
And you've got a dry setup?
Got a dry setup.
Okay, good luck. Back to you, Jim.
Yes, good luck, and thanks to David Coulthard for talking through his racer's helmet there. Michael Schumacher keeping his thoughts to himself, but going for another gold. A reminder, he needs just 2 more points than Barrichello for that outstanding 7th world title. Ever since the first practice session in Melbourne back in March, Schumacher's been a class apart. Not when it comes to starting. The Renault's #1 in that department, and Schumacher's got Jarno Trulli next door and Alonso behind. Remember, Coulthard has won here. Button further back. He doesn't mind that. He charged from 13th to 2nd place in Germany. It looks like D-Day for F1 2004 in Belgium.